Motorbikes for me mark the end of a childhood dream and the beginning of an adulthood one. As a child, perhaps it was the image of one, of being a motorbiker. The speed, the sound, the open road, how the helmet makes the biker anonymous, like a real-life Power Ranger or Iron Man. Now that I have my license, and I'm lucky enough to have a bike of my dreams, those childhood inspirations continue to spark joy for my riding. But what's important now is the freedom it has granted me. It's where it can take me and how it takes me there, through back roads, wet and dry, bending or straight, with power and with style. My motorbike, for me, is a symbol of adventure. One night in 2008, when I was little, my dad came home late from work with blood all over his clothes.
I just turned into the road and it was a bit odd because there was a tractor and a car blocking the road. In the road was a motorcycle scooter type with someone in obvious distress and pain lying in the middle of the road. So I thought, I'll get out of the car, recognised the tractor driver who was out of his cab and said, "Have you rung for an ambulance?" And he said yes, and as I walked towards to see if I could help, I noticed there was another figure in motorcycle helmet just to the side of the road, motionless, lying on his back, and realised he wasn't breathing. So I then immediately started taking his helmet off, and remember the guy looking down said, "You shouldn't take his helmet off, he might have a neck injury." I said, "Well, at the moment he's not breathing, so he'll just die." I then did mouth to mouth and CPR, and so I had to keep going with my CPR because no one else was helping. Eventually an ambulance arrived, but at that time I'd said it was no good, this chap is dead. And we discussed what could have happened with the police, and they thought something had hit them, but we couldn't see anything. It turned out to be a deer that had got injured and then died in the gorse, but it's very sad.
Yeah. Now, we don't know the family. I've never spoken to the family, so for privacy reasons I'm not going to show the memorial that they have, but 16 years on they still have a memorial, a cross with the names of the couple on it, a place for flowers. And I ride past it almost every day. I try to remember to nod as well, because it reminds me of the dangers that I expose myself to by riding a motorbike. And these dangers are real, but should they stop us from riding? More on that later. So how did I get into riding? My dad. When he was a young adult, he couldn't pass his driving test, so got a bike instead.
No one I knew rode motorbikes, they all had cars, so I was sort of encouraged at 17 to try to get a bike licence, but I couldn't afford the lessons very often. We didn't have a car, so I failed my test. And then I met a chap who's a good friend of mine who'd always loved motorcycles and fiddled about them. He had a very old two-stroke Panther, so I thought, oh, well, I could get a two-stroke Suzuki, which is what I did, two-stroke 250. I got work in the summer and used up all my savings and got a little loan from the bank manager who was friendly. Took it back to London and scared the pants off me there, and then progressed through to a Suzuki 550, which I loved.
How long did you ride that?
About a year, but it blew up. Oh. And I couldn't afford to do anything about it, so I'm afraid life took over by then.
And when did you, and why did you start riding again a lot later in your life?
You know, it's a mystery to me why I did. I don't think I'd ever forgotten about motorbikes, that was the thing.
During my short time at university, I'd stay connected by sending Dad pictures of motorbikes I would see on the streets. When I came home after dropping out, I decided I finally wanted to learn the skill, which leads me to my first bike, Spider. Alright, sorry for the wind noise, but this is my setup. This is my bike, it's a Honda CBF 125. still a learner, so we have the learner plates on. Reliable, easy to ride, economical. I bought a Spider for £1,900. I didn't have a loud exhaust. I didn't throw loads of money at it. I knew it was my stepping stone to either getting a car or a bigger bike. Okay, first things first. Gonna try and do a U-turn because I tried doing it the other day when I was riding and I was pretty crap. Check the mirror, lifesaver. Ah, that was easy. Nice. There's the commemoration. See the birds? See, on a car, you see this stuff, but you don't have the wind in your face and you don't... It's not the same. It's not the same. As a young person, riding a motorbike can be quite a smart choice financially. It can save you a lot of time and money spent on public transport, especially if you live in the countryside like I do, where buses and trains are either infrequent, expensive, or both. I wanted to get my license and certify the skill though, and once I passed my test, I bought my dream bike, the Yamaha XSR 700.
To make this life a wonderful adventure, let us use the power, let us all unite. I'm alright, all my love, and all my through this iron sky, this flash big open all night. Over freedom, into freedom, into freedom.
But a 125cc can be enough. There's this YouTuber whose videos I love to watch, Bertram Jansen, that rides only a 125cc motorbike and takes these really epic long road trips around Europe. He shows how you don't need a powerful bike and loads of money to enjoy motorbiking. Alas, recently I've started my own adventure and moved to one of the worst cities for motorcycle theft in the UK, Bristol. Which is why I've switched to this, a 2005 Suzuki GS500F. £1,095, it was cheaper than Spider. And it's taught me a whole new world of motorcycling. This motorbike, to me, is what a film camera is for photographers. Tactile, mechanical, and falling apart. Still, there's something so special when using it. Even if some days I'd rather have a digital camera in my hands. But at least I'm no target for the motorbike thieves. Well, at least that's what I thought. Unfortunately, about 2 weeks ago, some thieves tried to steal my motorbike. They cut all the locks off. Granted, they were really rudimentary locks, they were just sort of bicycle locks that I had lying around. And they tried to break the steering lock, but luckily, through the amazing engineering of a 20-year-old bike, they were unable to break that lock. They did instead just bend my handlebars completely, like twisted them. Now I've bought better, proper motorcycle locks. I think I was just hoping that a 20-year-old bike, they wouldn't really want to take it, but no, if you live in a city in the UK, unfortunately, you need some proper bike locks, and you know, if you can have it in a garage or something like this. I just park it out on the road. It's pretty quiet behind our flat, but if you live in a city, for sure, you need to lock it up. So in my case, my motorbike is the only form of transport I have, and that's fine for me because I'm a student and I don't have anyone dependent on me. But for a lot of people, a bike might actually be a luxury where a car becomes a necessity. And I think in the biking community, perhaps that's the largest demographic. You have the people that really just do it as a hobby. It becomes something you put your spare time and your spare money into, and you can keep your bike in a garage or invest some money into it to protect it, or have a nicer bike as well. If that is the case for you or for anyone interested in biking, then it really just becomes a fun hobby, a new skill you can learn. But I think one of the biggest benefits of actually becoming a biker or joining the bike community is exactly that, it's the community. You have people from all demographics and all age ranges riding motorbikes. You have people like me who kind of rely on it, but you have people who do it for fun, who maybe only ride on a racetrack, or they have an adventure bike that they take around touring the country. I know that when I go out for a ride, if I were to go out right now, if I see another biker, we're going to nod at each other, we're going to wave, say hello. And if I were in any trouble at any time, someone would most likely come and pull up. I know I would if I saw another biker who needed help. So whether you ride as a hobby or you ride because you need to, the biking community is always there for you, and hopefully you can make many friends through that. So a new skill, cheap transport, and adventure. But what about the dangers? So it's definitely more dangerous, but really it's the same risk factors as driving a car. For a motorbiker, we must be sensible about speed, wear all the correct gear, think about your visibility, and educate ourselves. In the UK, the most common factor allocated to a fatal motorbike crash was the driver or rider failed to look properly. Motorcycles are definitely harder to spot, but can we also be more aware as road users? Becoming a biker makes you so much more aware as a driver of potential motorbikes. And I think my time riding a motorbike will forever improve the safety of my time on the road in any vehicle I command. I also started regularly giving blood a few years ago. It's a dream of mine to become a blood biker, which is a rapid response emergency service that transports blood and crucial medical items across the country. This is something I'm working towards and would like to get my advanced rider qualification. There's definitely a feeling that you chase, much like the surfers I see as I ride by. I watch them and know that we're chasing the same feeling, or a very similar one. You see, I tried surfing, but I find that ocean very humbling. And much like the surfer riding the wave, being on the motorbike is an adventure with something greater than yourself. There's higher consequences, it's dangerous, and you can't control other drivers around you. You always have to be aware of that. But for me, the beauty of riding is worth the risk. So now, just for 30 seconds, join me as I ride through the forest back at home.